is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to talk about little Trae Young, a guy that I seen that summer league, and I seen the things that he could do and what he can become. And he's always part of that Luka Doncic trade, who looks fantastic this season. But I really had heard a lot of these questions about, should Trae Young be an all-star this season? And just by looking at those numbers, a lot of people are starting to earn respect for Trae Young. The problem is they haven't won that many games. A lot of people thought that the Hawks would be a sneaky playoff team because of Trae Young, a guy that can create his shot but also get his teammates involved and get them easier opportunities and high percentage shots. And you look at last season, he had a decent season, got off to a bad start, and he was able to figure some things out as the season started going on. And John Collins coming back last season really helped him. You look at him this year, 34 minutes, which is the highest minutes he ever played per game in the season. 20 shots a game is 5 more shots than he had last year, but he is shooting them at a higher clip, 44%. You look at the 8.9 three-point attempts, that's a career high, and he's shooting a career high 37% from the three-point line. He's using a career high of 7.1 free throw attempts and knocking them down to 86%. That's a career high. 4.2 rebounds is higher than 3.7. 8.6 assists. Some people thought Trae Young could lead the NBA in assists, and that he was probably going to be the guy with the highest chance to do that. Even though he's not really close to leading the NBA in assists, he still is a great decision maker and playmaker. Even though he is getting 4.8 turnovers, which is horrific, he has to do so much for this team outside of trying to make decisions. And he has so many opportunities because he has the ball in his hand so much that just increased the chances of his mistakes. But I knew coming out of high school and college that he would have some flaws when it comes to being a playmaker in the NBA, because obviously he's a shorter guy. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. And he is a guy that has improved his handle, but he still has a lot of things going against him, making him a guy that he has to rely on certain tactics and strategies for him to really be able to get to where he wants to go. But that does open up chances for him to get blocked, for him to get picked off. And like I said, him having a high usage rate and they use him so much, that just increases the chance of him having a chance of getting a turnover, because he is playing 35 minutes a game. And without John Collins, there is no simple pass outside of some lobs. And he has been fantastic finding his teammates, cutting to the basket. He has been fantastic getting guys involved and getting lobs and dunks. And Trae Young, you would think that he would average more assists than he has this season, just because he's so unselfish and he is always in attack mode and he's always moving around trying to probe and find the weaknesses and the spots in the defense so he can take advantage of it. And to me, Trae Young has a huge basketball IQ, and I think that that's something important when he has the disadvantages when it comes to being an athlete. He has found ways to get the best out of his size and his body. And even though I don't think he's a finished product, and I do think he can continue to get better, but when you look at the numbers, it seems like he has already become one of the best players in the league, even though his defense is probably one of the top 5 worst defenders in the NBA. And it's not his fault, like I said before, just the deficiencies that he has coming into the league, and things that he can't really change. He can't change how tall he is, how fast he is, really those are things that, becomes a disadvantage for him. But he still got to find a way to get the best out of his body and out of his talent. And I feel like he is a hard worker. For him to be putting up the numbers that he's putting up with those type of disadvantages shows you that he understands the game and how it needs to be played. But he also knows how to really execute, and he knows how to stay active. And I think that that's one thing that makes Trae Young so great, is that you really don't know what he wants to do, but he knows ahead of time what spots and what areas he's trying to get to. So therefore, he can get some quality shots from himself or for others and get them high percentage shots to the best of his ability, because he is damn near the only playmaker on this team, especially the one when it comes passing. So Trae Young been grinding. He's been frustrated a lot this season because they continue to lose. They continue to be a bad team, and he feels like he's going out there giving his all, doing whatever he can to help this team win. And obviously, you can see that that's true, and it's part of the journey. You get drafted to one of the worst franchises at that time, the Atlanta Hawks. Y'all not going to be great right away. Plus, Trae Young has things to figure out because he hasn't played at the NBA level until now. But I love the improvements that he has made, especially when it comes to being efficient. He still has bad shot selection, but I feel like his stroke has been a lot more better, a lot more quicker, and he hasn't really threw up as many bad shots from the three-point line because he's been working a little bit more in the mid-range and the floater game, getting more easier and quality shots. And he bends the defense because his ability to keep people behind him and using the screens to get his first step, so that way he can get an advantage over longer, smarter, but also bigger defenders. And that's the way you have to utilize Trae Young to get the best out of him. The only problem is, can you really become a championship team with Trae Young being your best player? And I told you guys this a couple weeks ago. When you look at how this team is built, and when you look at how they're trying to make a team around Trae Young, because he's their all-star, he's their, prized possession, and it's going to be tough for them to win a championship when you can't really play elite level defense with Trae Young, because he's always going to be a guy that you're going to want to switch on or take advantage of, and that puts you in foul trouble, that get him out of the game, but also it makes him work defensively, which slows him down offensively, even though he is young. But it's a lot of wear and tear, banging and banging and banging with a slow, ugly game in the playoffs. It may not fit this Atlanta Hawks team that likes to get up a little bit and you utilize Trae Young by putting pressure on the defense at a constant moment when he has the ball. So it's some things that they still have to figure out. It's a lot of guys that they have to develop, and if they're going to build a team that can really win with Trae Young, you're going to have those guys like Hunter and Reddish that can switch and guard multiple positions and really make up for that deficiency, like we've seen with Golden State with Steph Curry. People still pick on Steph Curry. People still call out Steph Curry, and people still switch Steph Curry onto them so they can take advantage of his defense. But Trae Young is a worse defender than Steph Curry, significantly worse. So that shows you how tough it is to win with Trae Young. But also, John Collins is not a rim protector. He's not a great defender. Neither is Cam Reddish or any guy they put at that wing spot. Brimbury is not that guy. Um, Hunter hasn't been that guy defensively. He looks like he has a lot of development to do. And when you look at their ability to really have one of the worst defenses in the entire NBA, how can you fix that when you don't have those type of defenders? And how long will it take before you can? I think that Trae Young can give you a top 10 offense when he's on the court. But what is they giving up when nobody on this team can guard anybody? They have no good defenders at all. And where are you going to get these guys from? I don't really see too many two-way guys that can really come to this team. And even if you get one, that's not enough. One great perimeter defender ain't going to fix all your problems. But when you look at the accumulation of young talent that they have, most of these guys are one-way players, and most of these guys aren't the most efficient scorers either, making you look like, okay, what direction is they really going in? And I told you guys that last year. When you look at this roster, you look at the draft picks, and you look at the things they have done, this team is so far away because of their defense, but also they're trying to develop so many players and give them so much playing time, which is right. but they don't have the mentality that they need to be great players, or they just don't have it in them to really, push themselves to get even better. They got a lot of role players that feed and really depend on Trae Young to get them opportunities to help them get quality shots. And when Trae Young is literally trying to do everything he can to carry this team and do whatever he can for this team, that's a deficiency. You can't rely on Trae Young to do everything offensively, and then nobody can guard anybody defensively. And a lot of these guys aren't consistent shooters, or they're not really great at multiple things. They're more skill set players. And I don't think you can really build a championship team like that unless Trae Young play at an even higher level than he's playing right at now. And it kind of do seem like Trae Young, this is the best he can really do. He hasn't really had those crazy games. He hasn't really had those multiple dominant performances in a row. It seems like teams are just going to trap him, double team him, and force him to give up the ball. But who can you really depend on to knock down the shot, to create a shot, and to give you efficient shots? So I think that they need more than just multiple defenders that can guard. I think they actually might need another guy that can create for another playmaker, another decision maker to go along Trae Young. And it sounds crazy because Trae Young is a guy that you want to run your offense through. He is a guy that you want the ball in his hands because of his decision making and his scoring and the pressure he puts on defense. But can you really win like that? I know you're in the East, but you still do have guys that are bigger, longer, more athletic, more mobile. And you have teams like Philly and Milwaukee and teams like that that can really put one or two guys on Trae Young and really help hold him and make him take contested and challenge shots. And if he's not going, where are they going to get the other offense from? And I think that that's one thing that's important about John Collins. At least him and Trae Young got the chemistry. They have the ability to get the best out of each other. But where is you getting the other offense from? Where are the guys that's going to really step up consistently for you to win games night in and night out so you can make the playoffs? And when you do make the playoffs, who are going to be those guys that's going to be difference makers to help you make a long run outside of Trae Young and John Collins? They only can really play off of each other, but what about the rest of the team? What can the other guys do to really mold this team to be one of the best offenses in the league with or without Trae Young on the court? What can they do if Trae Young can't get his shot or he gets trapped and he has to rely on somebody else to score? They don't have those guys that can do it on both ends, but also they don't have that many guys that can do it offensively. So this team has a lot more to improve on. They have a lot more to do. They're far away from being one of the best teams in the NBA, even though it seemed like they're going to have a great season. They have, again, bottomed out and become one of the worst teams in the NBA and one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. Even though they are fun to watch and it is a fun thing to watch Trae Young go out there and punish defenses, he really only can do so much. And John Collins has his flaws and his limitations also. So I think that them getting a lottery pick, getting another young piece, what can they really do to help build this team in the right direction so that way they can eventually get to a championship level, not a playoff level, a legitimate team that can win the title with John Collins and Trae Young really being the focal point of your offense and your attack. I feel like they're far away from that, and I said that before the season even started, and they're proving it. But we also have to see what happens when John Collins comes back, which he's almost here. How are they going to play? How are they going to defend? And who is going to be those guys that step up night in and night out for them to really have a bright future and know what direction they need to go in and who to keep? These guys are getting a lot of playing time. They just don't look that good. And that's the problem when you're trying to build towards the future. I like Hunter. I like the potential of Reddish. I like how great Trae Young has played the last two seasons, but it still has shown not to be enough. And now they're going to have to continue to find ways to make this team better because it seems like Trae Young is already getting mad and frustrated for how the team is built, how the team plays, and him not really having enough help to balance out his, play. He only can really do so much, and that's why I feel for him, and that's why I made this video. He's having an all-star caliber season. He's showing that he can be one of the best players in the world offensively, and he's showing that he can be a difference maker. The problem is who's going to be that other guy, who's going to be the guys on the team to get the best out of him and he get the best out of them, and who's going to step up outside of John Collins to really have this team winning games and even become a better team, so that way they can eventually make it to the playoffs. But when you're building teams like this from the scratch, you're not really thinking about playoffs. You're trying to find a way to build a championship team, and that's what I want to see going into next season and in the middle and the end of this season. What can they really do? Who can they really put on this team to get the best out of Trae Young, and he can get the best out of them? Like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies, I break down players, I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching.